watching IDEATION TV, empowering you. Of Feb 2022. It is another beautiful Tuesday, and yesterday was actually Valentine's Day. Quite a number of stories. I mean, quite a number of stories really. Yesterday by 8, someone at least would post, "It is still early, I'm still hopeful." And now that is all gone. But there are those who believe that this whole week is actually going to be Valentine's week, and we can only say it is okay. Of course, this is here. We're here to actually enjoy. Now, that was actually on a lighter note. This is the Startup Talk. I'm Sankara Beruhanga. We are back for yet another episode. Tomorrow will be another public holiday. Wednesday 16th is going to be Janan Luwum Day. So we're in the middle of public holidays, at least for this week. So it's another week where people are going to be burning some money here and there. Now, we are supported by Empower Youth in Technology, which is a tech hub here in Mbarara. We are yet to unveil a very big announcement very soon at the end of this very month, and it's also going to be for you, the startups out there, and trust me, you're going to enjoy that. Now, we're also in partnership with the Climbers. Is another big thing to watch because it is going to be starting very soon. Another big platform for startups where you will be actually meeting mentors and all those, all those that actually might need to build your journey while you build your startup. That is going to be championed by Comrade Sam Mogisha. I'm telling you, that gentleman, you need to read about him, by the way. Quite a number of things he has achieved already, and he's going to be at the helm of the Climbers. Another big thing happening to startups. Now, last week we talked about those who had actually a dream of, at one point becoming the next Mark Zuckerberg, and actually name them the dream of entrepreneurship. We talked about and took you through generally what you need to be like, the mindset you need to actually carry, why it is actually important to think about starting your own business, but also the traits you may need to leave behind in case you're preparing for that very dream. Now, in case you missed, this is a snippet of what Comrade Sam talked about. Let's watch it, and when we return, we should be able to roll on to our today's episode.
Check your attitude. If you have the right mentality, you need to keep checking if you have the skills and the competence to do the business, and you have to know how to execute. Those three pieces really are very key.
You're watching IDEATION TV, empowering you.
Now, that was to say that actually entrepreneurship deals a lot with you solving a problem. You're welcome back to this another episode. Ugandans are happy for many reasons, apart from Valentine's yesterday, but at least we are telling them about having their own businesses. You could say hi to the viewer first.
Hi everyone, I'm glad to be here again and to share a few things about startups.
Yesterday I saw your status. You posted a picture with your wife, and you said a very good day to my dear one. You said 16 looks good on her. You must be lucky, madam. Yes, do you have another
was
message?
Valentine's Day.
Yes, we could.
You know, also the choice of a spouse is very important.
Yes.
I'm lucky I have a very wonderful spouse who's very supportive. Oh, this wouldn't be happening if you have had a quarrel at night. Can you talk on the camera? You cannot. So
you cannot.
Very grateful for her and wish her a happy Valentine's week. Yep.
Okay. Trust me, we cut out this video, and that's why you're watching it, madam. That's how we do it right here. But that is on a lighter note. Last week we told these gentlemen and ladies, those that carry a dream of becoming entrepreneurs and start earning by themselves, because that's we realize that is majorly what actually drives one to dream like that. But from the clip we just seen, you talked about you termed it important for an entrepreneur to actually be solving a problem, because majorly people are going to be paying for that as a solution. Now I understand that because you have a tech background, I equally do. While at Mbara University of Science and Technology, it actually featured while we were looking at design thinking with its stages. One of them, of course, being empathizing. You're going to have that empathy, look into someone's problem, challenge, and sit and be like, but Sankara, whenever you visit a lodge with a girl, it's so hard to use the toilet while she's available. So you go through a lot. Sometimes you have to wait for her to go, and then you are able to use it comfortably. Or you have to come while sorted. You're not going to use the toilet while she's around. So you tend to get into the life of Sankara, who visits a lodge with his chana, and he was not going to use that toilet for that whole night. Of course, then you say the next stage with that, someone is supposed to
define the problem.
Define and actually kind of write it down, and at least read around it and validate the problem generally. So I'm going now to say, now Sankara, since he's going to delay to visit the toilet for almost for almost 8 hours, there's a likelihood that maybe things are going to pile up in here, and it's UTIs and all that. This is the problem. Sankara needs a solution. Now the next stage is actually to ideate. Look for ideas. How can we solve this problem that Sankara is actually going through at that moment? Now today is actually what we are looking at, because there is no way you're going to become an entrepreneur if you actually do not have ideas, business ideas that you're going to invest in and you believe are going to actually be a very big need to someone, to an extent that I'm going to pull out my hard-earned money and pay for that problem, and you become an entrepreneur. I think that gives a good background for our topic today. Let's roll on directly to ideation.
Thank you very much. So you've mentioned the 5 steps of what was termed as the design thinking process, which is an internationally taught process. They teach it in universities, innovation centers. It's a process that people believe you can use to innovate or come up with an idea. You basically have to empathize. The first step is you empathize with the person you're going to solve the problem with, and that usually involves doing interviews. Remember, whatever we think we know about the problem is a hypothesis. Until you prove it, it is just in your mind. You're just in love with your idea. Like we said last week, you're just in love. So you need to empathize and first really put yourself in the shoes of the customer that you're going to serve. And that's the beginning, that's the critical stage. And people have suggested on empathizing, they suggest using user interviews. You need to move out and talk to people, potential customers, and ask them objective questions You don't have, so when you love in the idea, you may ask them leading questions. The answer is no. They have to be objective, exploratory questions. What is the problem? Try to really learn from them. What is their life? What is the day in life of that particular customer? And actually, there's a recent study that says that if you just interview eight right people, 8 are enough. Because people ask, okay, I interview, how many people should I interview? Should I interview 2, 10, 100? 8 are actually enough. It is the number. If you interview the right group, 8 of them, then you will have enough answers really to begin with. So you empathize, use interviews. If you are in a university setting, there is a tendency to want to take you to a research methodology. In trying to do user interviews, people end up wanting to make it very complicated. Of course, researchers do get detailed, thorough. You may want to do a randomized control trial and all of that, trying to explore different things about but all of that is not necessary actually. Actually, there's another study that said that if you're an entrepreneur and you go, for instance, the research methodology, which is actually very bad, that's what universities are teaching. You move into the research, random control trial and all of that, all that detailed work, you're never going to get to the answer. You're going to take a lot of time. It takes a lot of time, ethical approvals and all of that. They are good, but as an entrepreneur, I would rather read what other people have researched about, pick the notes rather than me going to do those trials. So that's just something to note. So you empathize, you do interviews, you make sure you understand the day in life of the customer. Then, like you said, you redefine the problem as step number 2. Again, this is a very hard thing, you know. An example is you'll find people, they tell you we are solving the unemployment problem. We want to solve unemployment, and they'll quote stats. 83% of the youth in Africa actually do not have jobs. They have energy, they are not sick, they are not in prison, but they don't have jobs.
They'll go for university graduations, whatever, statistics
and all of that. But is that the problem really? We have to think a lot about the problem. The biggest challenge is solving the wrong problem for a long time. There you're in the wrong direction. You have to spend a lot of time from what you've learned from these people. What is the real problem? There is always the problem, it's unemployment, but under unemployment is the problem the fact that they can't find jobs, the jobs are not visible. That may be one of the factors. Is the problem that actually the jobs are not there? Is the problem that these actually jobs are there but people are not skilled enough to take them on? So all those are different dimensions. And when you talk to people, if you're solving an unemployment problem, you have to go deeper and really understand the problem. Solving the wrong problem is the worst thing that can happen to an entrepreneur. Another example I could give on that point, we see there is a recent fight in Kampala with this vendors issue. The vendors issue being sent off streets. They don't want these traders on the streets. And the question is always, yes, there is congestion in Kampala, there is street vending, but what is the real problem? Is the problem street vending? Is the problem rural-urban migration? Is the problem... So you really have to know the right problem, and usually we will go to the root cause analysis. You have to go deeper and look at what we call the root cause. The problem really lies usually in the root cause. You don't want to solve the wrong problem. So you have to do a root cause analysis and really go deeper. Ask pertinent questions in the empathizing phase. Ask very pertinent questions to make sure that you're solving the right problem.
I think that's where, is it called problem tree analysis?
Yeah, problem tree analysis. This causes this. You start, the problem is unemployment. Before you know, you're saying the problem was colonization. So it's a lot of things, but you have to really get to the root cause of this problem and see if there is really a problem that's there to solve in the first place. There are problems that are not there to be solved. Actually, they're called gravity problems. It's a problem, but it's going to take years to solve. It's a structural problem. You may not do much about it. It's So there are problems that you realize as an entrepreneur you don't want to waste your time solving on. Anything that lies in what we call gravity problems is something you want to leave and focus on solvable problems that can actually be solved, especially in the short lifetime that you have. So
So you finally land on that. You finally learned on the problem.
Now you go to the ideation.
You clearly can state it. You can clearly really see it. So
when we know, we are sure we have the right problem, we are speaking to the right audience. Now do we go to find solutions?
Yes.
Now here there is also a very big problem in ideation. People are always in love with their solutions. Actually, when you ask very many people, you ask them, what's your company about? 95% of the time they will tell you the solution they offer. They will not talk about the problem. And that's the problem, because as a designer or as an entrepreneur, you're supposed to fall in love more with the problem than actually the solution. The solution will change from time to time. The solution evolves. The problem may also evolve, but most importantly, you need to know the problem in detail and don't be stuck to the solution. So you have the solution. So entrepreneurs usually have the first solution they think will solve the problem at the back of their mind. They always have it even before they go through the problems. They always think, I want to do this to solve this problem. So that's not a good approach. We encourage you to generate at least 3 solutions to the problem.
Then you could,
3 different solutions. There is solution
so
A,
let's
solution B, and the solution C.
Let's first help him or her define ideation. Then we could be able to go on very well.
Yes, so ideation.
What we understand is that ideation comes at a level where you actually understand the problem.
Yes. You've understood the problem. You're very sure you're solving the right problem. It's not a gravity problem. It's a problem that is solvable. So now we can go to the solution. We go through this process by generating a number of ideas. This process has to be done in a way of experimentation. Don't go with a very rigid approach of this should be the solution. No, you want to generate at least 3 probable solutions, at least, and you can generate 10, 20, 30, no problem. But generate a number of ideas on what the solution could be to this problem. So ideation is really creativity, and it brings in the element of novelty. How unique is your solution? Again, we generally encourage entrepreneurs to think of novel solutions, things that are new. So the design, thinking like a designer in the design thinking process, the whole point is you're never stuck. You're never stuck with one solution. You are always generating different solutions that you now take to the next stage, which is prototyping, and later you test them. So in ideation, you're trying to come up with different solutions. I think what could solve this problem is ABC, is this and this and the other, and that's what you do in ideation. You come up with different solutions. What we know so far from studies and everything, actually in design thinking, if you take a design thinking course, they'll tell you never go with your first solution. That's like a rule of thumb. You never go with your first idea about the solution to the problem. Usually it is the best solution. That's the observation. They say never go with your first proposed solution. You need to think deeper and explore other solutions. So we generate different
There's what
solutions.
we call 10 times thinking. Where does that also come around here, or it's a different concept?
Yeah, 10 times thinking. I think the 10x thinking by Grant Cardone, the 10x rule, it tries to again talk about thinking about the problem in a big way. Think about the solution in a big way. If you think the solution is this small, good designers want to already think about the solution at scale.
How to improve it.
How to improve it at scale. Well, you may start with a small approach, solve it for one client, but at the back of your mind, you should be thinking, if I solve it for this client, I will also solve it for very many other clients. So, so ideation really is about generating several ideas. Don't get stuck. Generate several solutions to the problem, write them down, and begin promoting them. What I do when I have an idea, I pretend as if I already have a solution or that solution and pitch it to someone, and then get their feedback.
Sometimes we usually pitch the envisioned solution.
Yep.
Rather than the
what
problem.
you already have.
No, rather than the problem.
No, you have to always pitch the problem and the solution you're coming up with, and you match them. But you pitch different solutions, different people. I would come and say, what do you think? I'm trying to create a certain new type of food for poultry. I realize that there is limited on the market. There's only yogurt chick, so we've come up with a different option. Ours comes with ingredients A, B, C, D, comes at a different price point. Would you be happy to have a try on it? You see what the customer would say. So you're testing the price point, you're testing if you're even open to the idea of having a different solution, a different feed. The solution again may be we're actually selling a machine that helps you to make the concentrates yourself. We've realized that there is need food for poultry, but our solution, we have a machine which you use grass and local available components and make this concentrate on yourself. If you buy this one machine and you have grass and ABCD, maybe it will solve the problem. So you see, you have different solutions to the problem, and you see which one puts the wow factor on the eyes of the customer. Say, wow, that is novel, that is interesting, I want to try it. And that's you're getting to the right ideas.
Yeah, let's get into the how to actually arrive at some of these ideas. Could there be known techniques that one could actually use to, I have identified the problem, yes, it's there, but how am I going to carry on with ideation? Like you said, my first solution within my mind, usually, like you said, I shouldn't actually be carried on.
Usually fails.
Yes.
So what we know is that every idea, every solution fails with first contact with the customer. First contact with the customer, you're going to fail. The first solution usually is not very good. If it is very good, it means you took so long. It means you took so long to bring it to the customer. So usually we have to really go back to the steps of the design thinking process. And at this point, you want to develop a minimum viable product. The minimum, some people quite like to call it the minimum awesome product. What is the minimum that you can offer to the customer to validate again? This is not a real product. It is again. Remember, the whole essence of ideation is actually to learn. Ideation is a process of carrying out experiments, so you get validated learning from the customer. You carry out cheap, simple experiments without investing lots of money to learn from the customer. So once you have the idea, you now try to develop a solution for it. If it's a website, you put up a prototype for it. If it's a product, you generate what we call the minimum awesome product, something minimum that a customer can actually use, but it is minimum in sense, or that can validate your idea. The customer doesn't have to use it, but it will spark a very wonderful conversation with the customer. And the best conversation is, I want to place an order for this. You get, that's the conversation you want. That's the best conversation you want to finally get. Or I want to invest in this product. It looks very awesome. So you develop a minimum viable product. And the last step usually is testing it. You put it out and test different parameters. Do customers love it? What do they say about the usability? What do they say about the proposed price point? Can they pay for it? What's in the competition? Will they like mine better than the competition? So all of that is what you go through to test, and you test. And the whole point really of this cycle is to minimize wastage of time and minimize wastage of money. The whole design thinking process was created to come up with a systematic way of generating ideas without losing time and money. That's why we are saying, don't take it as I must deliver this solution to the customer. You don't have to be rigid. Just take it like I am exploring options. We are exploring options that the customer will like. That's the attitude during ideation. We are just exploring. What will they like? Yeah.
Okay, we're exploring what would they like. Now, we are still rolling on. Instead, in case you just joined us, this is the Startup Talk, and you're watching TV. I'm Sankara Hanga. We have our co-host. I would refer him to that, but he is an expert when it comes to startups, actually mentorship and all this. Now, today we're focusing on ideation, which is actually the third stage for someone who is trying to get a product or a service out there. And we are at the level of you identifying a problem, and yes, after that you need to list multiple kind of solutions. How many ways can you solve that very problem? And then later you could zero down to at least the best and perhaps the most convenient. We're going to have this short break. When we return, we should be able to move ahead with this discussion as we near the end of this show.
Would you marry me?
Are you planning to get married? Congratulations! At NeoCare Clinic and Fertility Center, we care about your healthy marriage. In our premarital checkup for both of you, at only 200,000, we test HIV, hepatitis B and C, syphilis, urinalysis, ABO blood group, and HB electrophoresis to prevent any risk of transmitting any disease to each other and to your children. Yes, thank you very much. Welcome back from that short break. Now, that was a message from NeoCare. They tell you, in case you're planning to get married, then you need actually to go for premarital tests or premarital checkup. They do that at only 200,000 for a couple, and they test HIV, hepatitis A, B and C. We are talking about things like syphilis. We are talking about things like blood group. All those to make sure that your kid is actually going to be safe, or you don't infect your partner. You need to actually utilize this chance. They're here in Barara, just like you watched in that very video. Now, we are still rolling on with our Startup Talk. We're on our episode that actually focuses on ideation. We are looking at you who just identified a problem to solve, and you want to quickly get into the market. But before that, we say it is important to actually first ideate, first get multiple ways you can solve that problem, and then choose the one that is actually going to work for the person that you are creating that solution for. Talking about the importance of this, I understand that if we run back to the design thinking, but generally the next steps, one would be at least prototyping and then later testing the product. But surprisingly, some people actually go ahead to, yes, I have identified the problem because some told me to become an entrepreneur I just need to identify a problem and get a solution. I identified a problem and here I am. We are launching this solution, come please attend and all that. By the way, do we have such cases? Do you have some known cases where someone...
Yeah, I'll give an example from my personal work. I think I worked with a client about 7 years ago, and this client had identified a problem.
Yes.
This was unemployment. They were very sure that unemployment is a big problem, which is a big problem.
Yes.
They used to say that actually a job, this boss of mine used to say a job is the basic need of life. Actually, he used to say you don't need water, you don't need shelter, you don't need clothing and all those necessities of life. You need a job, because when you have a job, you'll get the others. So that is the conviction. So that was the problem. Like I said, I don't think we defined the problem very well. And then on the ideation phase, the solution was to create a job seeker website. A website where job seekers would access jobs. They would access mentorship and help and training for the interviews for these jobs. So we went on. This gentleman, my friend, I feel sad when I talk about this story, but what happened is he had some money saved up, lots of money. We are talking about 100 million Ugandan shillings that he had saved over a very long period of time, and he started putting into this idea of building a website for job seekers. We built the website with very many features. And again, we had some area that we didn't test very well. Our assumption was that job seekers will pay 50,000 each to access all these services: access to jobs, access to information about jobs, access to mentorship, interview preparation, and all of that. Our assumption was that they could actually pay 50,000 to access all of this. So we built the website. That was around 2013. We put in a lot of money. We hired a team of 50 marketers to move around and market this idea. But I want to tell you, after 3 months of selling this idea, after 3 good months of spending this 100 million plus, we only had 5 subscribers to this website. Only 5. And when I did a thorough check of these 5 people, I found out that actually one was his girlfriend, the other one was his sister. So we only had 3 subscribers after 100 million money spent and 3 months of work plus. So that's why ideation is very important. Were we solving the right problem? Were we solving the right solution? Did we test all the different components of an idea? Did we test them thoroughly? You know, when they talk about testing an idea, you look at an idea actually in 9 dimensions. Who are the customers? What value am I giving the customers? What are the channels I'm going to use to reach these customers? Where can I find these customers? Who are the people, partners that I need to work with to reach these customers? What is my cost structure? How much will I need to deliver this solution to the structures? How will I make money? What are the revenue streams that I will use from this idea?
Look at the resources.
Look at the resources. What resources do I need to build this idea? There are 9 of them, and they were laid out very well in a business model canvas. The 9 pillars of the business model canvas that you have to think through critically. How do you deliver value? How do users capture value? And how do you gain from that value? That's the summary of the business model canvas. Whom do I do? Okay, customers. What are our value propositions? How do we reach them? What are the relationships we need to build? What are the partners? What are the resources? What's the cost structure? How do we get this value from them again? How do we get this value? How do we maintain relationships with them? And all of that. So that's the whole idea in 9 dimensions. So it's possible that for that particular idea, we didn't think about the idea in all those dimensions, and we didn't test enough. So with the ideation, we could have one idea, one solution, that's creating a website for job seekers to find jobs, training, and etc. We would have had 3 of them, and without investing lots of money, we would have built prototypes and tested them early enough to minimize wastage. You don't want to waste a lot of time and a lot of money on before you are very sure. So that's the whole essence of actually going through this process. If you don't, you're likely going to waste one of the 2 big time, and it will hurt you.
That's what makes ideation crucial, and I could not get a better answer from different from that. Now, as we near the wrap up of this, again, when we were studying, at least there were these kind of dialect techniques that they say one can use to ideate, brainstorming. I saw some others walk. Was it writing, storming, something like that? Quite a number of
all
them.
sorts of ideas.
So in your day to day, running or whatever, where you've moved and whoever you've met, in whatever businesses, of course, that you've run with your experience, could there be a few direct or easy ways one actually could arrive at different solutions for a particular
There are very many ways you can arrive to a solution to a problem. You could brainstorm. You could, some people say ideas come in the bathroom. You could go and take a long shower, 1 hour, and you get some ideas. You could meditate. There are different ways that people have suggested where they got ideas from. Bottom line, no one has the answers. The answers are with the customers. Whatever you do, you must ask the customers. No one should lie to you that I have the idea. Sometimes you get a team with some dominant voices, and they tend to show you that they have the solutions to the problem. That's dangerous. The only person who can validate our solution is the customer. Whatever techniques you use, make sure that you're speaking to customers. You will speak to people who have failed in their life, and they have what Steve Jobs called dogma. They have their own beliefs. They may divert you, make you think in a certain way. So the key really is whatever technique you use to talk to the customers and generate your solutions, they can only work if you're talking to the customers. And this process cannot be delegated. There are people who like being bosses, that even in the ideation phase they want to delegate their team members. No, sorry. As the leader of the idea, or one we call a co-founder, you must get out of your seat, meet the customers, talk to them, empathize with them, make sure you understand their problem very well, generate various solutions for the problem, test each of the solutions with the customers, develop prototypes, and test and learn from customers. So no one should lie to you. Sometimes you got your educated uncle, he's a PhD, and says you should use this approach. No. Whatever approach you may use, whatever is suggested, bottom line, you must talk to the customers. They are the ones that will decide whether your idea works or doesn't work, period.
We've been in, we are still in Valentine's Week. I understand that Ugandans at some level, well, that is my opinion, at some level really they enjoy such. I don't know if I'm right or wrong. But as someone dreaming to fetch some money or become an entrepreneur around, of course, well, this is seasonal, but at the end of the day, I could actually maximize it. How could I arrive to a few more ideas? Oh, no. Okay, let's go direct to these ideas.
So you want to get solutions for how to make money in Valentine's Week?
Yes. How can we make money this week, for example?
There are many ways to make money. Again, we'll use our design thinking process. They are lovers who want to show each other that they love each other. So we have to empathize with them. What do they want? They want a memorable experience, maybe. I don't know. Again, like I said, whatever I will suggest are just random solutions. Until I have gone and done this myself, I can't say I have the right answers. Always you have to do it, talk to the customer. That's where the answers are. So first of all, with business, we want to look for a repeatable business model. That's the whole idea. You want a repeatable business, you want repeatable income. So if I sold on Valentine's Week and I don't have a constant flow of income, the other how many weeks of the year, it's challenging. But then we want to make this quick money in Valentine's. You have to know who is the customer, empathize with them. In Ugandans, like I was telling someone, they are not really lover people. That's why the idea of Valentine's, I think I read about the history of Valentine's in Uganda. The first people to bring it, who was this MP, this MP of Silo North, is the first person actually to bring the idea of Valentine's to Uganda and showing people that they can also do public display of affection. Ugandans are not good at that. So you have to look at the cultural context, look at the cultural gifts that people like, the gifts that they have, and the spending power. How much are they willing to spend on a Valentine's Day experience? You may have outliers, who want to spend very little money or want to spend a lot of money. But usually business will look at when you have this binomial distribution, look at the mainstream. What do the majority want? You don't want to see a picture on Facebook, someone has gifted their girlfriend a car, and you conclude that I will stock cars to give away for Valentine's. No. We look for the majority, the mainstream. What would they give? What is their average spend? And you do all this research, and then you come up with good solutions for them and look for ways to promote them and to deliver them to the customers. So again, we think about all the 9 pillars. Whom do I want to partner with? You may want to deliver the solutions, partner with Safe Border. How much money do I want to make? This is the money I want to make. And you look at all the different, who are the customers? Maybe I'm going to target campuses since they are the ones, or working class. I don't know whether elderly will buy into the idea of Valentine's because of a cultural setting. So you really look at all the different 9 dimensions and come up with a plan for this week. And again, like we said in the last video, the execution matters so much. The execution, how you execute, really counts a lot.
Okay. Well, there you go. And I think we may not be able to push further than this because of time, but this whole thing was actually about how you could actually arrive at different ideas that you could push around and finally make your money. And on this very last note, really, you also could think of different ways one could actually make money from Valentine's. I still think this whole mood that we had yesterday, and some people are going to still push on for this week, because I believe one could actually make, like you said, a continuous kind of business or mood or something like that. I saw a university yesterday organized a kissing booth. That, of course, that is not in Uganda. That was Nairobi. A kissing booth, and that was at a campus. And guys were really, what they did was to pin names of ladies, and whoever came with a male name, those guys would actually freely kiss, and at the end of the day walk away as lovers. If you're already a couple, you would just do it for the sake. But I do not know if we knew that in Barara there's this place, it is, you just go and it's all about Valentine's. Maybe people would keep coming there daily. But thank you very much for allowing to talk to us.
Thank you.
I understand you should be able to, you should be in after Valentine's. I can see the ring, but you allowed to come and talk to us.
So bottom line, really, when you're generating ideas, never fall in love with your first idea. The first solution to the problem usually is not the real solution. It's not novel enough, so you need to generate several possible solutions to the problem you're tackling. Several, and with all solutions, they have to be validated using cheap experiments. The whole goal of ideation, if you're starting a business and generating ideas, is really to minimize wastage of money and time. Do it very fast and do it in a very cheap way without spending lots of money. That's all you want to do.
Yes. Wow, thank you very much. And finally, of course, the last thanks, at least, will go to you who has been watching us. Like I told you, we will be featuring Comrade Sam in different episodes, and I told you at one point we should be able to go on the board. He talked about a few concepts, of course, that would appear, okay, I need to understand this, the business model canvas, what process, with this process, all those we should be able to get time and go through them, whether it needs us getting our board here and draw these things and be able to go through all of them, that we shall be able to do. But also, in case you have a problem that is business related, a problem, any challenge around business, and you may need guidance, then you're free to actually put it in our comment section or send it on the WhatsApp number that you see on your screen. We should be able to either respond directly or organize an episode around that very challenge, and also to promise you that it is not only going to be us. We should be able to feature a few people. It could be a victim of a certain business problem, or it could be another mentor who we could host here together, and we actually interact, sort of a panel. We should be able also to organize quite different business talks in different universities. We are working on a roadmap. We should be able to come with him, sit in front of you with an audience, and you're able to interact live on Startup Talk, but also getting answered there and then. So there's a lot that is actually coming in this very show for you who is planning to do business. Can we talk about in the next episode, is it possible to talk about pitching? Because at this time perhaps you have your idea, you know the problem,
we can talk about
have arrived
we can talk about pitching.
you have arrived at yes. Yeah, we should be able to do that in our coming episodes, but also I promise you that we're also going to, for Ugandans at least, we are going to design or look for all funding opportunities that we believe are coming this year for startups. We will have an episode around them. We analyze each one of them, and you should be able to get a chance to apply for this, and that is going to be very soon. So all that to say that there's a lot that is coming on the Startup Talk. In case you have a friend, then you need to actually tell them there is a lot coming your way. From me, thank you very much, and have a beautiful week.
Are you ready? Are you ready? Yes, I'm trying on Muchiga. Bueno, if you have any event, it can be a music show, it can be a party, big or small, and you want it live, you can even catch me and my band on IDEATION TV. That is on YouTube, Zoom, or Facebook.
IDEATION TV, empowering you. Get a trusted laptop or desktop from nowhere else but Think Innovations Inc. Yes, for 24/7 support, repairs, computer accessories and spares. Think Innovations Inc. is your partner. Find us in Barara City, room AF51, or call us now on 0753 975042 or 0789 708 838. You're watching IDEATION TV, empowering you.